You know, that got me the first time that they updated that on Zoom. I was always shocked when it told me. Um, I started in social media marketing back in 2012, and this has really been my career. So I've really done everything that you can think of in all these platforms. I've seen platforms risen in popularity to fall. And that, just to give you a perspective, back in 2012, when I gave a presentation, I actually had a gentleman raise his hand and say, "What are you going to do when you find out that social media is just a fad and it's going to go away?" And I laughed and I said, "Well, I guess I'll have to find something else to do with my career." But, here we are today in 2021. Social media is certainly not a fad. It's now, I think, more important than ever. It's how we've been connecting to each other and professionally over the last year and a half. And so the concept of LinkedIn, I said earlier, LinkedIn is on everybody's minds. And I think it's because people are looking for a place to really showcase who they are as professionals in a way that feels good and safe, and to make those connections and relationships. And LinkedIn is such a great platform because it doesn't have those personal aspects like Facebook or Instagram does. You can really show who you are, the skills that you have grown over the last few years in your career, and all of your accomplishments in a way that can be celebrated. So LinkedIn is a really amazing platform. I'm happy to share a lot of information today. Everything is going to be recorded, so you can just kind of sit back and absorb. Of course, you can take notes. I will also have my assistant Rosie. I don't know if you can see her. She will also be taking notes in between naps, but don't worry, I will also send you my notes as well in case she misses something. And any type of tracking sheet or template or log that I show today, I will also be giving you. So you're going to have a lot of my resources that I use for myself and for my clients as well. Um, Feel free to go ahead and chat in questions. I will be stopping periodically to read the questions and to answer them. I request that you keep yourself on mute unless you want to cause a ruckus. And in that case, that's okay too. It's 2021. We're used to that. So we can handle anything. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump into LinkedIn. All right, today I'm going to teach you how to master LinkedIn. So before you become a true LinkedIn master, there's kind of a flow of levels you have to pass. The first is your profile. Your profile is really important. Your profile, I like to view it as your digital business card or your personal landing page. When you do any activity on LinkedIn, eyes are always going to go back to the profile, always going to go back to your headline and your summary and your experiences. So that's why we're going to start with talking about the profile. I'm actually going to go ahead and jump into LinkedIn as well to show you settings, to show you where to look for things or where to update things. So for those who have not fully explored LinkedIn, don't worry, we'll cover those things as well. The next thing we're going to talk about is your connections and exposure. So, once you have a rockin' profile on LinkedIn, the next thing you're going to look at is who you're connected to and what kind of people you're putting yourself out there in front of. Then finally, your content and your contribution. Just like anything in life, when you just post something on your wall or on a feed or share something, you need to always take it up one more notch to really make that difference or to break the barrier of noise. And then that's why we're going to end on contribution. I feel that as much as LinkedIn is a professional platform, we still need to go out there and talk to people, network, maybe comment on someone's wall or post or feed that you've never met before. So the contribution part is key. So these are the 4 areas that we're going to cover today. So let's take a step back and really look at the value of LinkedIn. It's a place, like I mentioned earlier, where you get to showcase your skills. There's not very many places in life where it's acceptable for you to go and talk about how amazing your Excel skills are, or how awesome you are at a certain program, or how great you are at speaking about a certain like a project or a product. LinkedIn is that place where you get to shamelessly self brag about yourself, and people, it's well received, and it's wanted. On that note, I truly believe anybody can become a leader on LinkedIn. When we think of social media influencers, I don't really like that word anymore, because I think we tend to find that we classify them as people who have millions of followers. Maybe they're famous because of their fashion choices or how they cook in the kitchen. LinkedIn is this great place where I believe that it's not, first of all, it's not saturated yet with influencers, so to speak, but that anybody can be a leader. And what does it take to be a leader on LinkedIn? It's the content, it's the contribution, it's the activity. There's no bigger secret in social media to the success except for being active. Most people that you can think of or are looking on LinkedIn, if you have someone that pops out into your mind as being a LinkedIn rock star, I bet it's because they post, they talk, and they contribute. That's it. It's the secret ingredient is activity, is actually putting yourself out there. So leadership on LinkedIn is available to everybody as long as they're willing to contribute. What's great, another great thing about LinkedIn is that you can get found on search engines. There are certain search engines that favor results, what's written in your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn also has a really great search function that many people use to find professionals and services. And then of course, it's a digital way to network and connect with professionals. What's been really exciting for me over the years is that there might be a CEO of a business that I've thought would be unattainable to connect with. For example, like the president of Ford, or a CEO that I've admired on social media for a long time. You'd be surprised at when you're doing LinkedIn well and you have a really strong presence and you know how to connect with someone, the barriers that can just disappear to other people that you might admire or respect in your field or other industries. And then, of course, I have a strong belief that we're always representing ourselves, no matter what platform we're on social media, but we're also always representing the businesses that we work for or the businesses that we represent. And I know some people say personal is personal, etc. But you know what? Everything that we do on this digital frontier really can help elevate the businesses that we represent when we put ourselves out there. So I think that there is a one of the biggest benefits for a company, a team, to look at LinkedIn together, to talk about LinkedIn, maybe to have a few meetings about LinkedIn profiles, make sure everybody's up to date, is because it can really represent an entire brand very well. When any corner you turn on LinkedIn, no matter what employee you're looking at, they have a great LinkedIn profile. So these are the reasons why I think that you should absolutely invest your time into LinkedIn. But knowing that you're here, I probably don't have to do much more convincing than that. So back to step one, your profile. I'm going to show you a few slides, and then we're actually going to go to LinkedIn, and so I can show you how to update your profile and what to do. So when people are scrolling through LinkedIn, searching on LinkedIn, these are the three things that they really want to know about someone: what they do, why they should connect with you, and how your product or service helps them. So let's just keep this in the back of our minds, that every time that we update something, or if you're wondering how to phrase something, make sure that you're answering these three questions: what it is that you do, why they should care about connecting with you, and how what you offer can help them. And once again, your LinkedIn profile is your personal landing page. Now, I'm talking about personal pages more than business pages. And the reason why is that if you study how people use LinkedIn, they're very rarely going to a business page just to hit the business page. They're often going to business pages on LinkedIn to find the people that work within that business. So that's why we're really going to have that strong focus on the personal page. So the first thing I have to say is, over the years, when I would do one-on-one consults about LinkedIn or group trainings, etc., and every time I pull up LinkedIn, this is one of the superficial parts of social media, that when people would make comments if someone had a professional picture or a non-professional picture. So this is where you're going to hear me say you absolutely need a professional picture as your headshot, as your profile picture in LinkedIn, and I 100% mean it. And it's because whether we like it or not, people like to look at something very instantaneously and make snap judgments. Now, I promise you, I have seen it all as far as LinkedIn profile pictures go. I once worked with a major CEO of a bank chain, and his profile picture was him at the club holding a martini. So, I mean, it's okay if you don't have a professional headshot now and there. We have all made that mistake, but this is your call to action to put in a really nice picture. And what a great picture for a profile picture would include is that it's crystal clear. You can see yourself, smile. It's usually chest up, shoulders, uh you can clearly see your head. It's not fuzzy, you're not cropped, you're not in a car, you're not with a dog. Although, I mean, I don't mind having dogs in profile pictures most of the time, but in this case, we really want your profile picture to be of you. So if you don't have a professional headshot yet, as professionals, we always need to have professional headshots. So this is your call to action to get one. Or you can always have someone who knows how to work a camera really well take a nice picture of you. The good news is that LinkedIn years ago, everybody's profile pictures were of them in a suit and tie or a business suit of some sort. Now the rise of the casual headshot is here. So the good news is that you don't need to be wearing a suit and tie in your profile picture. In fact, I tend to find that those who are a little bit more casual tend to look a little bit more approachable on LinkedIn. So I'll show you some examples of that. And I also recommend having a cover photo and looking at your contact information. Now, I've written information on this slide, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to update those things here in a second. The next thing, and I'm going to show you how to do right on LinkedIn, is how to develop your headline. Your headline is the information, I'm going to show you right here, that's written right under your name. The first three things that people see on LinkedIn about you is your picture, is your name, and your headline. So just like in advertising, um, it's a known fact right now that we typically have 7 seconds of someone's attention before they determine whether we're interesting or not. 7 seconds, that's our attention span. It is what it is. So we really have to make a splash right up front. And part of the making the splash on LinkedIn is what's written on your headline. So I have developed a handy dandy template for us to work with. So most people, I would say, their headline is, um, account manager at X creative agency. Like we don't really know what that means. We don't really know if that creative agency is a digital agency, is it a print agency? We don't have a clue. So headlines need to be way more descriptive than your title and your position. So my favorite headlines have the broken into 3 parts: part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1 is what you do where you work. This is what's going to sell someone. It's the first thing that they read, and don't make someone guess what you do. Number 2, part 2 is your actual position and title. And part 3 is capitalize on identifying information that is relevant to your target market. So the limit for your LinkedIn headline is 220 characters. That's actually quite a lot. You can do a lot with 220 characters. So for example, if I was a real estate agent, my headline could be finding families a home. That's the first thing that I want you to know about what I do. The second is actually my title and position. And then the part 3 is I've reserved it for identifying information for my target market to kind of pick out. So the residential and commercial housing in Metro Detroit. So if we're going to go back and look at my headline, social media consultant and manager, position and title. And then these part 3, part 4 for me are just additional information that I want someone to really know if they were to land on my profile. So it's influencer and ambassador marketing strategies and paid and organic social media advertising. All right. And then next, what I'm going to show you on your LinkedIn profile that you're going to want to pay attention to and spend some time on is your LinkedIn summary. So I will show you where that goes into the profile. Here are some of so in social media in general, you're going to hear many experts tell you different preferences for how things are done. I'm giving you permission to completely ignore me if you wish. But these are some of the things that spending so much time on LinkedIn profiles, what I'm drawn to and what I'm pushed away from. And one of them is when your LinkedIn profile summary is written in third person versus first person. If you think about it, all of social media marketing very much lends in psychology. And what we're trying to do without someone actually meeting you, um, you want to make them feel like you're approachable and you're warm, and that writing your summary in first person is one way to do that. And I tend to only find that like Beyonce, Oprah, the president of the United States, they all have a pass to write it in third person, but the rest of us can deal with first person. And I have a template. Now, after this slide, I'm going to jump into LinkedIn, but here are a few important things to know about your LinkedIn summary. The first line is the most important thing. It is what shows before you have to click view more to read the rest. And so the first line is where you make a slash. What you want to accomplish with your summary is introduce yourself, your position, what you do every day for your clients. You can give a bit about your background, your education, any hobbies or passions that help you deliver in the office. And that I think this is the most important part is, can your passion and personality show through your social media, through your summary? With every professional LinkedIn account I see, in every summary that I read, anyone that I see as a little personality, has their passions come out in the writing. That's what I just love seeing that. I love seeing people really showing who they are, how they are unique, and why they love doing what they do. There's nothing better to see other professionals and colleagues really just enjoy their work. So this is an important area on LinkedIn to really give that to. And then include a summary about your business at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into LinkedIn. I know this is the fun part. And we are going to look at the profile. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize my screen here. Oh, I did the wrong thing. All right, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so hopefully everybody can see. All right, here is the LinkedIn profile I got here by go ahead and clicking on my picture and clicking view profile. The first thing you're noticing is the cover photo. Now I mentioned earlier having a cover photo. Now this was designed for LinkedIn. You have a incredible resource with Christy and her team for any type of LinkedIn covers. Also, I use tools like Canva to create stuff like this. The LinkedIn cover is, I tend to prefer that they have some sort of logo, they have some sort of symbol of what you do. You can keep it very simplistic, or you can actually take it an extra step and put some of your branding into that LinkedIn cover photo. And how you add a cover photo is anywhere that in LinkedIn that you see a pen sign, that gives you a clue that you can go ahead and hit it and upload or edit the area in your LinkedIn. So this is where you go ahead and upload your cover photo, and then you can reposition it to be perfect. Then you can hit apply. The next area that you want to pay attention to is this pen sign right below the cover photo. And this is where your intro information goes. Your name, you can add your pronouns. This is where you can edit your headline. You can put in your area, your industry. Now, I would say 95% of the time when I work with someone, this area is not filled out completely. And specifically, this contact information down here at the bottom. So, how you edit your contact information is by hitting this pen sign. Now, the reason why this is important is because I would say 95% of the time, someone has their like AOL email address or their Yahoo or their cell phone when they have a business line, or they're not up to date with their company's website. So, this is why it's important for you to go through when you're sitting down and looking at your LinkedIn profile and really explore every single button. It's worth it. I would say, in full, if you were to sit down and go through everything on your profile, it probably will take about an hour and a half to 2 hours at most to really cover everything. But you don't have to do this all at once. This is good to like break up every day and just see and explore more aspects of LinkedIn. I'm also a fan of keeping your birthday visible because who doesn't like to have a birthday greeting? Um, but number two, birthday greetings are a great way for you to kind of pop up in the news feed to your connections, and it could be good conversation starters as well if someone wishes you a happy birthday. So this is where you go ahead and you edit your information. Now for your headline, I am a fan of anything that makes things look good. There's this concept in marketing where, and this is, I think this is a really important concept overall of why it's worth, looking at all of your social media platforms and making sure that you have up-to-date information or up-to-date pictures. So in the automotive industry, there's clearly different levels of quality of paint on cars. And so sometimes if I were to put you in front of a Ferrari and a Toyota, I hope this is a good metaphor for people who actually like cars. And I were to ask you the question, who has better paint on the vehicle? You, without actually knowing why, you would know what car has better paint. And it's this subtle, immediate thing that everything in the digital frontier works with. It's this like subtle telegraphing of something looking good, being organized, having the appropriate amount of spaces, something that's grammatically correct. It's these subtle differences that make someone almost immediately assume or give you credibility or professionalism. So when, if I were to go ahead and like have a missing space right there, yeah, it may not be that big of a deal, but these are the kind of small details that people can just subtly see and infer professionalism or credibility. So I like to use, that was all to say it's very important that we do, spruce up all of our social media platforms no matter what we're doing, because it is always going to help increase our credibility. I like to separate parts out of the headline with these vertical bars. You can find them on your keyboard. I've seen other people do like diamonds or other fun stuff, but I'm a big fan of the vertical bars. So another thing that I've seen lately, and I'm just telling you today, I wanted to make sure I'm bringing you the most up-to-date current info on LinkedIn there is. And this new trend that I am seeing is the use of emojis in the headline and emojis somewhere in the name. I know for those who don't like emojis, you just gotta give in. They're really cool. I love them. Everybody loves it, a good emoji. So even on LinkedIn, having the use of emojis is really popular right now, and I'm seeing it. So if you have a cool emoji that you want to add to your headline, go ahead and add an emoji that kind of makes sense for what it is that you might do. And I'll show you an example of someone who's using a lot of emojis and why it looks really good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and exit out of here. All right, next area, we're going to go ahead and visit our public pure profile and URL. This is where you can edit your custom URL for your LinkedIn. You click on this little pen sign and you can add your name. Now, if you don't do this, what it looks like is a bunch of random letters and numbers. If you create this custom URL, it's really looks really great for business cards or marketing materials. Now, the best practice is to have it to be your first and last name. The thing is that if someone shares your name, if your name is John Smith, I'm very sorry, I guarantee you it's not available. but you might have to add in a middle initial, or maybe you want to, modify your name just a bit to be your first initial, but you want to try to get this as close as possible as just being your first and your last name. And this is where you do it. So now we're going to head back. Once again, it's up here at the right-hand corner. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you your summary. So if at all that you say, hey, Jesse, I just looked and I don't have a summary right here, you can go to add section and you can go ahead and click through these sections. This is the best way to kind of go to jump to the part of your profile that you want to edit. So we're going to go ahead to the about section. This is where you're going to put in your LinkedIn summary. So you've got 2,600 characters, and this is where you're going to utilize, share your passion. This is like a short creative writing project in high school. For those who've taken creative writing, that was a very hard class for me because I love to extrapolate, but LinkedIn summaries are best when they're short and concise. And I tend to find that the best LinkedIn summaries are, if I were to actually count the sentences, about 10 sentences long. So it's really getting what you want to say out and in a concise matter that really makes a difference for someone. So just like I shared earlier, how the first line is the most important. It is what everybody sees before they have to click see more to read the rest. And I just want to give you an example of a few other LinkedIn summaries that I've helped craft along the way. So here, this is a great example of someone who has I call it a casual professional headshot in for their LinkedIn profile picture. You can see that he utilizes his branding in the cover photo. Let's also take a look at his headline. So micro and nano influencer expert. He's the CEO of Jumper Media, and he specializes in advertising, content management, and social media strategy. That's an example of a great headline. Now, if we were to go ahead and look into his summary, what you can see is the use of emojis. See, it's tasteful, it looks great. Now, if you were to sit and read through his summary, it kind of gives you perspective of how Jumper Media started, why it's important for him, who's a part of his business. And then he ends it with, aside from work, he likes to surf, golf, and travel. And, he believes that what you enjoy makes you better at business. He's really into drones. And I love the fact that he kind of brings this all back to his passions. It allows those who like to golf to connect with him, or surf like to connect with him, or those who are looking for drone photography. And what I really love is that he ends with a call to action to email him. So I think it's really also important in your LinkedIn summary to place a statement of what's the best way to contact you. How do they reach you? It's kind of giving them the open invitation that, yeah, feel free to reach out to me. And of course, he ends it with, I likely can't fix your handicap, but we could talk about social media over 18 holes. So this is what I love to see in social media. I love to see personality come out. It really kind of sets you apart, except for the bland and boring to interesting. Another summary we can check out is um, Brian's. He also is utilizing emojis. He puts in his personal philosophy, talks about his coaching programs and his books, and that his it's I like the strategy too of opening up your summary with a welcome to the LinkedIn. And a thanking of the interest. So that's also a good strategy for the summaries as well. So now that, and then we can go ahead and look at his profile picture. This is a great professional headshot. We can see that his cover photo has his logo, some of his branding, a picture of him. And then his headline is definitely simplistic, but it kind of goes with his vibe. CFO, author, success coach, and speaker. So this is another great example of a profile. So we're going to go ahead, and before we get into other areas of the profile, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the settings that I like to pay attention to. So I highly recommend to go through your settings on your profile. You may have things turned on or off that you actually want the opposite of. The first thing I like to do is go into account preferences. This setting right here, people also view. Choose if this feature appears on your profile. The reason why I like to turn people also viewed off is just one of my personal philosophies on LinkedIn. When someone goes to someone's profile and this is turned on, what happens on the right hand side of the screen, it actually shows you other people's profile, people who've also viewed. And oftentimes it shows you competitors. And so, like, for example, if you're a promotional agency and you're trying to promote, or maybe if you're in sales, you definitely don't want to take people away from your profile and send them to a potential competitor. So I like to turn off the people also viewed because I'm selfish. I want people to focus where they're focusing on. So that is one setting I like to put. Next, I go over to visibility, profile viewing options. So you can have, there's two philosophies here. You can click so your name and headline is always visible. For those who are in sales or heavy into networking, I actually recommend to keep this turned on. What it does is that as you're visiting or scanning prospects profiles, it's going to show them that you visited their profile and they're going to start checking you out. For those who don't necessarily have a high network need, you can also turn it on off as anonymous. I do a lot of research on people, so competitors, strategies. So I've turned mine off for right now, but I usually have it turned on. This is who can choose this. You can choose this, who sees your connection list. I do not have a good reason for anybody to have this turned on. In fact, I have seen it in certain industries where they like to go into people's connection requests of or connections of competitors and start trying to pick out who their clients are, or there's been controversy over this. So I tend to find is that it's okay to turn off who can see your connections. The fact is that if most people want to see your connections, it's usually for a sales type of purpose. The only reason I've heard of keeping your connections on is if you are connected to some really famous LinkedIn people or very famous CEOs. But still, at the end of the day, I tend to find that there's nothing really needed to have your connections on public. So that's one of the reasons I turn mine off. But once again, these are all just my recommendations for you. You can really choose to choose yourself what you feel like is best for you. Managing your active status. I turn this off myself. I don't believe, there has been some times where if I'm on LinkedIn for some other reason and people have messaged me because I'm on, sometimes there's an expectation of immediate response if they can see that I'm on. So I've turned that off just because I feel like it's better that I can be on LinkedIn and attend to LinkedIn when I need to. So these are some of the settings that I like to go through and look at. The final setting is your notifications. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but before I turned off the majority of my email communications from LinkedIn, I got a lot of emails from LinkedIn. Now, if you're like me, I'm always trying to reduce the emails in my inbox, not increase them. So I actually would go ahead and recommend that you go through each of these settings and you turn on and off the ones that you want to have. So I went through and chose the ones that I want to keep on, and I'm going to have the rest turned off. So these are, if you can see, as you can just see right here, this is the potential of how many emails you can get from LinkedIn. I tend to find that more off is fine, because if you're going on LinkedIn and checking your notifications and viewing it on LinkedIn, you don't necessarily need that email alert. What I do recommend is that you keep your connection requests on email and notifications of messages. So I know what we just did right here is cover, I would say, the true basic fundamentals of LinkedIn. Your profile picture, your headline, your cover photo, your settings, your public profile URL. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to go ahead and check out your experiences. So this stat is given directly from LinkedIn. They say that for profiles that have 3 or more experiences tend to have more connection requests, more success in their LinkedIn endeavors. So I have met people who worked at the same job their entire career. It's quite amazing. So what we've substitute previous experiences with is maybe volunteer work, or if they're on a board of a nonprofit charity, or any type of networking organizations that they're a part of. So there's always a way to throw in an additional experience if you don't have three. I highly recommend that every experience that you have something written. I would say most people don't have anything written in their experience section. And I actually think, looking at mine, I could beef up every single one of these experiences to really talk about the previous experiences that I've had. Now, my current experience right here, this is a little bit different than the summary section that's above here. What you can write in the experience section is very highly promotional. You can list out your services. You can talk about ways that you've helped clients. You can be very direct in your experience section about the business that you work for. Next, you definitely want to put in your education. If I have also worked with people who don't have college degrees, that's fine as well. You just want to put it in what you actually have available for the education. Now, skills and endorsements. So I have to say, this is another funny thing that happened to me back in the day, where when I was trying to encourage people to endorse other people on LinkedIn, I had a gentleman raise his hand and say, "Well, I've actually never seen this woman use Microsoft Word before. I don't know if I could endorse her for it." And I laughed because, that was a concern in the past, but an endorsement to me is as important and as powerful as a like, right? So it's totally fine to endorse others, even though you may never seen them use Microsoft Word or Excel. But I actually view endorsements as a really great way to plant seeds of relationships with on LinkedIn. So I highly recommend endorsing your colleagues, endorsing people in your network for their skills. Now, as far as what do you put for your skills and endorsements, as you can see right here, there are three that are shown first. So you want to organize your skill set. So the top three that are seen are the top three that you want to be known for. And I do not recommend that you put Microsoft Word or Excel or QuickBooks or Outlook. I mean, those are the things that I just hope and expect that every professional knows how to use. If you don't, you might be in trouble. But I would say choose the skills that you really want to be known for to go on as your top three. Now, as you can see, you can have, I believe it's between 30 and 50 skills that you can be endorsed for. Here's the problem with having a lot of them. You have a lot that are only endorsed by 11, 15, 18, 14, 8. Those are not very impressive numbers compared to the ones that you really want to be known for. So my philosophy as far as skills go, I recommend that you stick to 10 to 15 max, and you really make sure that these skills are different from each other. I see a lot of, like, I'm going to call myself out right now, marketing and marketing strategy. Those are very similar. Those could be condensed down to marketing, and therefore I could have more endorsements to marketing. Now, what has happened in the past is someone could actually recommend a skill for you. So I get a lot of people saying, "Hey, I see that I have all these skills that I didn't put in there. What's up with that?" People could actually recommend skills for you. So this is another good reason why to get into your LinkedIn profile, make sure that it's up to date, and make sure that your skills are categorized in a way that makes the most sense for you, and stick to 10 to 15 max. And then make sure that you add and include any organizations that you're currently a part of. And then now we're going to look at this beautiful area called recommendations. And I have a really cool LinkedIn recommendation template that I'm going to share with you. But another thing that I do is, so if you were to visit my profile, you would not see that I've given 42 recommendations. I actually go through and I turn off that you can see. So most of them, if I scroll down, it looks like they're all on show now. They must have changed it. You can actually go ahead and, oh, no, I'm in the wrong tab. um, you go to given and you can click visible to public, and then you can change it to only you. And the reason is there is nothing wrong with me giving other people LinkedIn recommendations, but this goes back to the psychology of I'm selfish and I want people to really look and be aware of how many recommendations I have received versus the ones that I have given. Now you can clearly see I've received 35, but I've given 42. So you're always going to be giving more than you receive. That's kind of just the general gist of life, but on LinkedIn recommendations as well. So I like to go and change the visibility to only you. So if any of you were to travel to my profile right now, you would definitely see that I've received 35 and you should not see very many given. And this doesn't erase what's on other people's profiles. It's just a preference I have for how a profile is set up. All right, so I've covered a lot of ground about the LinkedIn profile, and there's a few things that I am like, this is just in hot news, important stuff I'm about to share with you. There is a link that I'm going to send to you. It's called business.linkedin.com and it's open for business. And it's where you can change your profile to become a service provider. And when you update your profile to become a service provider, you can actually have access to this tab. I'm going to go ahead and show you right here where Brian is a great example where it says right up here what kind of services that you provide. So you actually have to apply, get accepted, and then you can have this on your profile. So I'm going to share with you in the Google Drive folder that I'll share afterwards. I will share this link with everybody, but this is the link that you go ahead and you go ahead and request get access. It's going to take you to this page where they're going to give you the information on how to join the LinkedIn group. And once you join this group, within 24 hours, you will have access to those features to your page. So this is pretty super secret stuff on LinkedIn. You're very welcome. I'm giving you all my secrets today. All right, the other secret is creator mode. So this is what I've recently discovered as well too, that there's a lot of benefits of turning creator mode on in your profile. So once again, if I'm looking at my dashboard, we're going to go ahead here and you're going to hit creator mode, and then you're going to go ahead and turn your creator mode on. This is going to allow you to share publicly areas of expertise that you're in, and it's going to give you some more profile abilities. So 2 super secrets for the day. If I taught you nothing else, at least change your profile URL, get access to services, and turn on creator mode. But there's more to learn. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I think I see some chats. I'm gonna stop to answer. All right, some people say they don't have problems with their names. Good for you. Let's see. Why does Eric have here him? I think it's just a personal preference that you can edit your pronouns, and you can edit your pronouns right here in this area of LinkedIn. And you can go ahead, and once you do, you can hit save and it will update automatically to your profile. All right, so we've covered a lot with the profile. Now we're going to move into the rest of LinkedIn. All right, so connect with professionals on LinkedIn. Once again, this is a professional opinion I carry. I believe that we should look at LinkedIn as a different type of platform than Facebook. Facebook, I agree. You should accept Facebook friend requests from people that you know. You want to safeguard your personal information as if like where you're going on vacation or where you live. You know, on your personal Facebook page, you can definitely, you know, protect and safeguard things on your Facebook page. Your LinkedIn is a public platform. It is meant for people who want to put themselves out there and showcase their skill sets to other professionals. So have a different mindset. Now, I do know other experts in this field that say do not accept connection requests for people that you don't know. My only pushback with that is that what if someone wants to do work with you? What if they're interested in learning more about you before they reach out? This is why I like to consider myself a LinkedIn open networker. Sometimes you'll see that phrase lion next to someone's name. That's kind of what it refers to. So a goal is for your connections on LinkedIn is to be connected to at least 500 people. I would say that's probably most of you have at least 500 connections. And the reason is once you hit 500 connections, doesn't matter how much over you are, it's going to show 500 plus connections on your profile. So this is why a goal, once again, 500 plus connections. Now, I know for a fact that Colton and Brian probably have an upwards of 3,000 connections, but you can't see that. Once again, you just see that 500 plus. So this is a really good goal. When I first started LinkedIn, I had 13 connections and I grew it over to 500 quite quickly because the truth is we all know 500 people. We all know 500 people, whether, I mean, I was connecting with my dentist and the dental hygienist. I mean, I connected with everybody. I got to 500 pretty quick. Now, when I talk about connections to people that you don't know, there's a different methodology that you want to take for connecting with someone that you know, and that when you're connecting with someone that you don't know. In general, including a note when you connect with someone is best practice. So I equate it to those who actually send out physical thank you cards. Those people, they have their lives together, they have it going on. I respect them. I try to get to the point where I can always send a physical thank you card. It's hard to do. Those people have it going on. Same thing with people who always include a message when they connect with someone on LinkedIn. You can always, even if it's someone that you know or that you don't know, you can greet them, you can say why you're wishing to connect with them, and you can keep it light. So I'm going to give you some examples of LinkedIn messages that you can send when you request. So step one is to connect with someone. This is for someone that you don't know, and this is how I'm talking about. Very simple messaging will increase your chances of someone connecting with you by 80%. So it is worth it to put in this message. So if someone I don't know, I'm trying to connect with, I'm interested in learning more about you on LinkedIn. I would love to be a connection. Enjoy your week. Simple, straightforward. Now, in my past, I have done testing on LinkedIn connection messages of all messages to do testing on. I would send out thousands a week to determine what messages get the best response rate. And this was one of the top performing messages. And I think it's because I'm stating right there in the connection message that I'm interested in learning more about them. It's not about me right off the bat. We're drawing attention on showing value, saying I'm interested in learning about you on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn gives it a safe space where people don't think that you're going to go up as soon as they connect with you, you're going to give them a call on the phone. And then this is why I think that this particular connection message is so successful, is because it's light, it's simple, and it's short and sweet. Other connecting messages that have done well is saying, like, I see that you're a part of this organization. I would love to be connected with you to learn more. I see that you have skill sets or you have experience doing this type of work or industry. I really I love working with people in that industry. I would love to be a connection. Any type of information that kind of gives you an insight of why you're connecting with them, people are likely to accept. um, Always, this is the same thing about sending that physical thank you card. Thank them for connecting after they're done connecting. It takes 2 seconds of your time, and it really will help open the door to future conversations. Because as much as I want to sit here and say LinkedIn is just, you're going to look so good on LinkedIn that business is going to flock to you. I mean, that is the goal. But we're going to have to be a little proactive. We're going to talk, we're going to want to go out there and talk to people and invite them into a dialogue. So just having that simple connection message and that thank you is a great way to open the door. Now, what I would tell you or advise against is that, and I see this happen all the time for those who are on LinkedIn or big users, you're going to see that sometimes people try to sell their services to you within that first connection message. What do you do 9 out of 10 times when that happens? You ignore because you're not interested. You've given them zero chance to even approach you. That's why you really want to, just like anything in life, we're more likely to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. But how are we going to get there utilizing a platform like LinkedIn? Well, first, we're going to get there by sharing meaningful content, having meaningful conversations, and not trying to sell someone on a service within zero point 0.2 seconds of them reading your first name and your last name. So, this is one of the recommendations I have. And then, if you let's just say that you're connecting with a prospect, the next step I would do is go ahead and engage with them. Go to their profile once they've accepted, comment on their content, maybe endorse some of their top skills, make a good impression, because this is all those notifications are going to come to them. They're going to start recognizing your name. They're going to start visiting your profile. And then the next time that you actually want to have a dialogue with them or a conversation about synergistic services or partnerships, they're more likely to open your message and respond. So we're going to go ahead and jump into like the mechanics of maintaining your presence on LinkedIn. Um, it's quite simple. I would say the people that take LinkedIn seriously and use it for prospecting, if I were to interview every person that says I get business out of LinkedIn, they're all going to say I use it 5 days a week. They're on their LinkedIn profile 5 days a week. It's not passive, they're very active about it. Now, some of you might not need prospecting or networking needs. And that's fine just to have a really great looking LinkedIn profile to share some of your accomplishments. But for those who want to build business and to really make a name for themselves or their company that they represent, checking and being active on LinkedIn 5 days a week is going to be really important. So check your messages and respond to serious requests. Connect with 10 to 15 people a week. Now, actually, that's quite low. When I work with a client's profile, we're doing potentially 50 to 150 people a week. So you can definitely grow your network quite rapidly. Make sure that you're sharing content onto your feed, and we'll get more into detail of what kind of posts that you can share on LinkedIn. And then, of course, find relevant leads for your business and begin a relationship by endorsing, liking, or commenting on their activity. So, kind of jumping forward again to this concept of nurturing leads on LinkedIn. Um, this falls into the contribution. This falls into the category of that you're trying to build business and network with people. The best flow that I've seen this work out is that first, yes, attend to your profile, make sure that it perfectly represents you. The next thing you want to do is build up those connections. Now we're going to talk about the exposure that you have. Ultimately, the best outcome is it would be great if someone could actually agree to have a phone call with you, meet you for a coffee, connect, and potentially utilize you for a service or a product. The way to do it, I have found, is that you connect with them, you thank them, you engage with them, and then I would say time it out in over a span of a week or 10 days to actually go ahead and direct message them a request for a meeting. Now, the messages that I have sent personally for meeting requests on behalf of the clients, they have ranged significantly depending on the industry and the goal. So this is a very general message, but I recommend that you actually test messaging out for yourself. Like I said, I can't give you like a one magic message that works for every position, every industry, in every circumstance, but I can give you the context in which messages work. Messages work when you're non-confrontational, when you're really requesting to learn more about somebody else, when you're drawing in common factors, whether you both went to the same college or that you've actually went to their website and you took a look around, you've acknowledged them in some way. The key is that for anybody who has used LinkedIn right now, we can go through our LinkedIn messages and see, you can 100% see if someone has copied and pasted a message to you that they've sent out to 100 connections that day. So the best LinkedIn messages that get the outcome that you want are ones that are completely custom for the person that you're talking to. So this totally takes away from the scalability factor. Yes, you're going to actually have to look at their profile. You're going to have to research a little bit about their company. You're going to have to draw some personality in and just try to be as genuine as possible. You will be surprised at how open people are when you take a little bit of time to make the message more about them than about you. So I definitely recommend that if I were to take control of your account today, the first thing we would do is craft a series of messages that might work and actually go ahead and test them out, meaning that send them to potential prospects, learn what works and what doesn't work. You can fine tune that process over time. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you some aspects of connection. So I think I saw a, oop, I think I may have seen a chat come through. So let me go ahead and check those questions really quick. Okay, at some point when appropriate for our sales group, can you touch on the advantage of LinkedIn Premium? Yes. What does the first mean next to a person's name? That means that they are a direct connection of yours on LinkedIn versus a someone who's not a direct connection would have either a second or a third. So if I were just to search for John Smith, we're gonna see how many John Smiths. You can see that these are all second connections, meaning that they are connected to one of the people that I'm already connected with. A third connection means that they have no connections in common. And then as far as the LinkedIn Premium goes, yes, for those who are utilizing LinkedIn for prospecting, Premium, I do believe is absolutely necessary. Now, in the past, I'm frugal. I like to save money. I don't like to spend very much money. So I'm always trying to cut corners, find the most inexpensive ways to do the best thing possible. But on LinkedIn Premium, what it allows you to do is it's an untapped or unrestricted way to utilize LinkedIn. As an account that isn't upgraded to premium, you're going to be limited by searches. You're going to be limited by prospecting tools like the Sales Navigator, which you can actually tag certain prospects. You can have LinkedIn actually automate prospect lists for you based on search terms. So LinkedIn Premium is definitely necessary for those who are trying to recruit or prospect. For everybody else, I feel like you can get away with utilizing the non-premium platform. You're not going to miss out on much. You may be restricted in searches every month, but at the same time, I don't tend to find a problem with that. But when you're prospecting or recruiting, I highly recommend that you upgrade your profile. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to send messages to people that you are not yet connected with. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to just choose someone here. Let's just say I want to connect with Brett. Now, if I were just to click connect right here, which I'm going to do it, I'm going to take the leap. It's just going to send that connection request. I have now missed my chance to send that message with the connection request. So this time I'm going to do it better. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up their profile. I'm going to go ahead and click connect, and you can add a note to personalize your invitation to Caitlin. So we're going to go ahead and add a note. So this is how you ensure that you added a connection message to those that you want to connect with that you don't know personally. Now, once someone has accepted your connection request, it will give you a notification by email. It will also notify you in your messaging. And so that's when you can go back and thank them for connecting. All right, next we're going to talk about content. As far as number of posts to post on a regular basis, I don't think we have to do overboard. Now, I guarantee you that at least one of you knows someone who's posting multiple times a day on LinkedIn. That's fine. I tend to find that, like in social media, more is more. That's always my favorite phrase because the more you do, the more you get out of it. But let's just talk about like a minimum. If you were to go and take LinkedIn serious for growing and developing who you are as a professional, I'm seeing on average sharing content being posted or shared about 3 times a week. I highly recommend that you avoid posting on weekends. LinkedIn is one of those social media platforms that most employers don't have a problem with you using during work hours. In fact, most people, when they're out of work, don't tend to check their LinkedIn profile unless you're an entrepreneur, because they're always on social media doing something. But most of the time, I would say the general audience on LinkedIn is utilizing LinkedIn during business hours, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then avoid any major campaigning on holidays. They tend to be checked out, and you can see engagement drop quite a bit. So as far as sharing content on in LinkedIn on a regular basis, I would definitely recommend trying to go for 3 times a week. Now, what to post? People, I feel like we forget how easy it is to come up with a topic because we don't have any resources. We haven't sat down, wrote something out, or really thought about what it is that it is valuable for us to share with someone. These are just a few ideas, but we can actually hop onto the LinkedIn feed and we can see what other people are sharing. You can share news in your industry. So let's just say you are in the automotive industry and there's an important law or important advancement in the industry, that you can actually share an article and talk about your opinion about things. I tend to find that when those who share industry related information, they do have an air of credibility about them. It means it can show other people that you're up to date on current news, that you're always reading, you're always learning, you're always researching. So sharing other articles on LinkedIn and talking about what's important about it for you, that's a great thing to post. In any type of networking event, volunteer, even team meeting or acknowledgement at work, award ceremony, anything, any type of networking event, I highly recommend to always get your phone out, take a picture, and share what you're up to. Even digital events. So I've seen a rise of people taking pictures of their Zoom screen, or maybe sharing their notes on their notebook about something that they've learned that day and tagging the people that they went to the virtual event with. You can talk about yourself, your passions, and how you help others. I tend to find that it's 100%, you are free to talk about how you can help someone with sales, with their business, with utilizing or trying a different product, or just having you as a consultant or an advisor in their back pocket. You can talk about the value that you bring and why you're passionate about it. And I'm going to show you some examples of that as well. But you can share content from other users on LinkedIn. So, like, let's just say you have a teammate that has shared an awesome post about what they learned about LinkedIn today. You can go ahead, as long as you're connected with them, you can share their post and add your comments as well. And then I would say what's really popular right now is a LinkedIn poll. For those who are on LinkedIn, polls have been very popular, asking questions, kind of getting to know your LinkedIn connections better. And I'm going to show you a few examples of that as well. So we're going to head back to Brian's profile. And we're going to go ahead and look at some of his activity. We're going to look at some of his posts, and we can show some examples of what he is sharing. So he's sharing about his upcoming podcast episode. He shared a graphic, and then he is sharing some information about why he believes that this is important to share. I have a rule for everybody on this call today. You are never, ever, ever allowed to ever share anything on social media again without having a caption. And the reason is, I've had many people say, well, the article itself is self-explanatory. I always tend to find that engagement increases when you have a caption, why you're expressing to someone why this is important, why you agree, what makes sense. So always include a caption. As you can see, they don't need to really be long pieces of writing. You can go ahead. So this is him at an event. And I use his profile as an example because he's a great person, and he just absolutely loves everything on LinkedIn, and he gets everything he wants out of LinkedIn as well. So he's sharing quotes. Now he is utilizing a platform called Canva. For those who don't know what Canva is yet, it is the best graphic design platform for non-graphic designers. You can create really anything on Canva, and it's mostly free to use. He's sharing articles, he's sharing pictures, he's sharing blog links. He's sharing videos. These are all really great things to share on LinkedIn. Now, if I were to go ahead and look at my feed, this is perfect, a perfect example of a LinkedIn poll. How do you respond to bullies or trolls on LinkedIn and why? And so I would put ignore them entirely. And that's 71%. This is a great example of how to get someone's attention by asking a poll. These are people just can't help but to engage. So this has had over 2,800 votes already. That's quite incredible. That's amazing. And then as far as hashtag goes, for LinkedIn. For those who don't know what hashtags are, they're hyperlinks to other content that use the same hashtag. So hashtags are categorical, meaning that if I were to scroll down, all of these posts at one point have used the be kind hashtag. And so it helps your content get found. You know, you don't need a lot of hashtags with your LinkedIn content. My rule of thumb is 5 hashtags max. So you can use hashtags that will categorize what you're talking about, and it will also help it get some reach. You can also explore hashtags as well. So if I'm looking for maybe someone in the Detroit area, I could search for the Detroit hashtag. You could do Detroit business, and you can go ahead and see all the posts that have used this hashtag. Now, as far as the content that I think gives the best job at showing who you are and why someone wants to connect with you is the hardest content to do, and that is video. Video is on LinkedIn. If I were to scroll down here, all right, so perfect example. This video popped up. It's engaging. It's novel. You can see someone talking. They utilized emojis, which is great. And they don't have any hashtags. That's the only thing I would add is the hashtags. But you can kind of see when I'm scrolling down, there's not much video to compete with. Here's another LinkedIn poll. But video is very engaging. Now, I know not everybody loves to jump in front of the camera and talk about themselves or what's going on with their business. But if we were to look at as a whole, what's working on LinkedIn and what is successful, people that do get in front of the camera, share about themselves, share about experiences, talk about lessons that they've learned, they have the most reach and they have the most engagement. So that's the type of content that does the best. Now the good thing is, just like the rise of the casual profile picture, you don't need to have a professional video. You can have a video as long as you have a great phone, a stand, clear lighting, low noise distraction in the background. Anybody can get on video on LinkedIn and share about what they're happening in their business. And here's the thing, I've done this myself. I've seen other clients say the exact same thing. They're like, the video, when I stopped overthinking it and I just posted it, and even though I messed up a few times in saying it, they're like, Jesse, it's amazing. People called me, people reached out for business, people wanted to get coffee with me. They're like, you're right. You really don't have to be perfect to do well with video. Now, here's the thing. In social media, perfection is the biggest killer of activity. We have to think that we have to know everything, be an expert, have the perfect things to say just to put themselves out there. That's totally false. In fact, social media is fairly forgiving despite the bad rap that it has. It's okay if you make a grammatical error. It's okay if you mess up when you speak. The truth is that if you're consistent with your actions and you're posting content and you're sharing your passions, you are going to be literally leagues ahead of so many other people in your industry, because this is a hard thing to do, the bridging the gap between just having a great profile and becoming a leader is putting content out there and putting yourself out there. And the biggest thing I've heard in the past year is they go across the board. And I promise you, I hear this about once a week, which is, it's weird. No one liked this post, but I had 5 customers come to me this week and reference the post that I did. So we in 2020, there was a overall industry-wide drop of engagement for whatever reasons. I think it could be that, politics or things got scary on social media for a while, whatever that reason is that engagement is less now. But that does not mean that people are not watching everything that you post and everything that you say. Do not measure your success based on amount of likes and amount of comments that you get. Base your success on if you're putting yourself out there and that you're sharing good things with those and you're contributing to others on social media, that it's not always about you, but it's giving value, it's giving tips, it's giving insights. And that's the measure of success that you want to have in a mindset on LinkedIn. And I promise you, even if you have 0 likes, you're going to start hearing people talk about your LinkedIn presence. I have cracked the hardest people. I've done the most boring things on social media, include promote autoclaves. For those who don't know what an autoclave is, it's a thing that heats up pools for medical supplies. Okay. And people have even made a big deal about autoclaves on LinkedIn just because of posts that we've done. So you will always be watched. And don't be discouraged if it takes a little bit, takes a while for you to get that engagement that you want. So I really hope that I'm inspiring someone to go outside of their comfort zone and put themselves out on their LinkedIn, because you will hear about it. I promise you. I would bet my career on it. So these are the type of things that you want to share. Now, as far as business pages, of course, like Tutorous would be a good example of, like, if you do run your division's LinkedIn page or your company's LinkedIn page, you can post videos, you can post articles, you can also have polls, and this is the type of content that can also go on the LinkedIn business page. Now, what's great is that for those who have a very active business LinkedIn page, whether you're posting on it or not, or someone else controls it, you could always go through and share the content that your business is posting. In fact, that would do your businesses, the company that you work for, a huge favor by interacting with their content. So I highly recommend that everybody, follows the company that they work for and supports them by liking, commenting, and sharing on their LinkedIn accounts. I'm going to just stop and make sure to see if we have any questions. I think we're good for right now. All right. Um, Moving on. All right. So my final slide, and then we have some time for questions. Um, how to become a leader and an influencer. So what we have found, what the LinkedIn algorithm has found, is that those who comment and talk to other people on LinkedIn do the best. So it's not just posting a really great video, it's interacting with other people's content. And LinkedIn will actually prioritize you, give you more reach, and give you more space in the algorithm when you leave meaningful comments. That means you're not just saying, like this, that's true. You're actually engaging with other users on LinkedIn. So this is in the fourth and final level, is contributing. So give to others attention, give exposure to their content, and help other people grow and get the activity that they're looking for. The thing is, you may think that you're benefiting them, but you're actually benefiting yourself. We have seen it time and time again that the best contributors on LinkedIn do the best overall with their goals. So comment and contribute ideas, write articles on your profile, which could be, this is a longer form of media that can go on your profile, and that I'll show you, and then ask for recommendations and give recommendations. So what I'm going to end on right now, before we have some time for questions, is that in your handy dandy Google Drive folder that I'm going to be sharing with you, Christy, is that I have this great LinkedIn recommendation email. So in my years trying to get as many LinkedIn recommendations that I possibly could, I've figured out the formula that works best for me. The formula is this: I send an email. I do not request it through LinkedIn, because half the time people don't see it or they don't know how to use that part. And you can actually copy this email draft into your email. If you have Google, even the images copy over. And what this does is it shares that you're excited that you're getting active on LinkedIn, and that you're asking for a recommendation based on your work together in X, Y, and Z. And then here's the magic ingredient: You enter in the LinkedIn recommendation that you want to receive. Now, might be thinking that's bold, that's forward. The truth is, we are all very busy. And that what I have found is that when I've given everybody the opportunity to help recommend me, they have taken it. Versus when I've just waited for them to draft a recommendation, I could be waiting weeks or months or never hear back from them again. We are all busy, and let's make everybody's life a little bit easier by drafting the recommendation that you want to receive. And then I always recommend that you include the information on how to recommend you on LinkedIn. Not everybody knows how to do that. And then, of course, I always offer if, I do offer if you want to receive a recommendation in return, that's great. Or I've even been forward enough to go ahead and recommend them first and then go ahead and email them requesting a recommendation. So this is a LinkedIn template that you are free to use. Another resource that I'm going to hand over is my handy dandy LinkedIn tracking sheet. So this, you guys, I've been so excited. Christy, I told you about this yesterday. We finalized it and I'm so excited. This is an Excel spreadsheet. So when I put this in the Growth by Design folder, I need, for those who use the Google Drive, you must make a copy and duplicate it, because this is going to be the master sheet that everybody can duplicate and utilize for themselves. So you've got, what are we tracking? What are your weekly tasks, and how often do you want to do these tasks? So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through what all of these things mean. So you can customize things that you're tracking. You can customize and put DMs sent to prospects. And you can go ahead and click this button. And these are the things that you want to just take note of for your profile. This is the list of things that you want to do on a weekly basis. So the next sheet over is your profile checklist. So everything that we talked today is going to be in here. So you'll have to unclick everything and go ahead. And once you've looked at your settings, you can click the check mark. Once you've created your summary, once you've added in the profile, once you've researched any keywords, added a cover photo, once you've completed all these tasks, then you are totally great to go. And then you're going to hop over to this sheet where this is going to be your weekly tasks. So you're going to kind of organize yourself as far as what you want to do. So I recommend every week that you're engaging in groups, you're endorsing your connections, you're checking your requests, you're checking notifications, and you can actually give yourself this little checklist based on how you want to manage your week. And then you can log your email and password, and it will auto populate with the date. Then when you're tracking your profile views, searches, and connections, so like, for example, with my client accounts, I always am watching profile views, searches, and connections. That's how I'm measuring if an account is growing or shrinking. So if I want to know that I got 85 profile views, I've got 9 profile searches, and today I'm at 2,800 connections, then you can add in a row, and what it will do is it will add the information into this tracking sheet. So I'm going to modify that as well. And then if you're a part of any groups on LinkedIn, you can go ahead and log your group name and whether you've been actively posting. So this is a little resource that everybody can use to kind of manage their own presence and what they want to do on LinkedIn on a weekly basis. So all of those will be given to you. So now I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. All right, can you please spell the name of the mostly free graphics? Yes, okay. Canva. It is awesome. I think I'll just share my screen really quickly one more time, because I am a big believer in learning how to utilize Canva. So you can go ahead and click any of these that might apply. You can create a logo, flyer, social media post. You can go hit social media. You can go ahead and click the picture or the categorization that you think makes the most sense. It gives you templates, so you can go ahead and modify any template. I'm hoping that it doesn't have to make me sign in, but I guess I have to log in. But anyways, you can modify templates, you can change font colors, you can add animations, and it's a very easy plug and play. You can name your files and then you can download them to post them on LinkedIn. So I love utilizing it. It's very simple, and it's, like I said, it's mostly for free. You might get charged $1 here and there for graphics. All right. So any we've got some time for questions. I'm here for those who are all set. You can pop off. It was really nice to chat with all of you today, but I'll hang out for the next few minutes for anybody who wants to chat through something.
So thank you so much for that, Jesse. It was a lot of information. I've gotten a couple of emails saying, I'm so glad that you recorded that because I took in as much as I could, but there was a lot of great helpful information that I'm sure we're all going to be referencing back. So we appreciate your time, and we are all going to be LinkedIn stars now.
Oh yeah. I will be watching and waiting for those connection requests. And I do, I'm a big believer that everybody in a team can help each other. Once you write your own LinkedIn summary, share it with your colleagues and, have them read it over, give them any insight, like, utilize the people that you work with to support you. And on that note, I actually think it's 100% fair game for your colleagues and your family members to recommend you. If they talk about the quality of who you are as a professional, your work, the successes that they've seen you take, 100% acceptable on LinkedIn recommendations. Yeah, it's if you're on a board, you can add that actually into your experience section, or there's actually another section in your profile called organizations, and you can add the organizations that you're a board of directors on. So back when I was looking at the profile and it says add section, you can go ahead and jump to the organization tab, and that's where you can add in that information. And then you definitely want to add in the name of the organization, how long you've been on a board member, and any type of contact information for that nonprofit or organization. All right, who here is like ready to just jump in LinkedIn today and just become a LinkedIn rock star? Anybody? Well, tomorrow's your day then. Christy, did I inspire you to at least create a video for your LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm inspired. Now the thing is, if you could give me like a couple days where I could really focus on, if you can find out how to make time, that will be my next request from you because I have so much I want to do.
I am looking for that same miracle. There's more time or to freeze time, just at least for like 3 hours a day. I'm gonna go ahead and see. Okay. Yes, there is a lot to do, but it's worth it. It's going to be so much fun when everyone starts to see that positive feedback. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.